Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. So today I want to talk about fears on this video. I know I've kind of mentioned it before, but it's hugely important right now because so many people are feeling like they are in a fearful state. So you can do the kinesiology. So when we are in a fear state, we are going to be in an unwell state. While when we are in a peace and love state, we are going to be in a well-being state. So we have the choice as to which state that we want to be in. Is fear basically or a love state? Love actually is the highest vibrational energy that exists in the universe. So it trumps everything. So every universal question and answer is going to be love at the end of it. So this includes healing and well-being, and obviously peace of heart as well, peace of mind. So love is always the answer. So many of us at the moment are walking with fear, and there's nothing wrong with walking these fears anyway, because they lead us back to ourselves, they lead us back to courage. However, it's when we are not aware that we are feeling conscious fear or subconscious fear when the problems can begin. Every time we test somebody with kinesiology and a symptom is coming up in the body, there is always fear held in the body. So it's and in an ancient Qi Chinese practice is they will sit in meditation and they will send love to any achy body parts to relieve symptoms. So this is an old tradition that has been around for centuries that hasn't really been discussed or talked about, but can have some really, really good well-being benefits. So it's worth investigating and doing your own search on those Qi practices. So fears. So fear is a social construct that we create to feel safe. So, but these constructs are no longer required. And it's coming back to awareness of our inner power and our infinity and our infinity. So the fears have got a purpose at the moment. So it's knowing ourselves to be free, and it's choosing to align yourself with light and frequency and truth, and it's your choosing. But while we are in fear states, we are not creating, we are not manifesting, we are just stuck still, we are just stuck. So it's really important in your life to know kind of where we are maybe attaching ourselves to fears. So one really simple test, if you can kind of, if you think, I don't know if because sometimes we'll sit there and we'll go, I don't fear anything. And there's nothing wrong with that. Good for you and your courage and bravery, that's brilliant. But if you've got something coming up in the body, a symptom, it's highly likely that you've got some subconscious fears that you are completely unaware of, and these will have come from past traumas perhaps. And again, we can do tests and find out where these fears and traumas have appeared in. We can do timeline therapies where we can see what age you experienced the trauma, and whether it was this life, whether it was another consecutive life, or if it's something from an external belief system. So we can do all of these checks and askings our body to find out exactly what is going on. We have the capacity to do it within us. We have everything that we need. So a simple test at the moment, so your kinesiology, so you can even use this kinesiology with your fingers. So we create a muscle and we're testing our muscular system in the body. So we create it. And we ask the body. So you can ask out loud, or you can ask with your in your mind. Doesn't matter. You're still asking a question. You're still asking your body and your inner self the question. It's fine. So you can ask, is my body currently in a fear state? So if it's a yes, the muscle will be yes. That's a strong yes. Great, you've got this. Let's bring this into the consciousness, and it's going to work for you. It's going to serve you. So it will be a strong muscle test. If it's a weak one and your finger goes straight through, it's a no. You're not in any flight or fight response. You're not holding fear anywhere in the body. So really handy to know, really handy little test. If you are struggling with this one and you're finding, I just can't get to grips with that, don't worry, there's another one. So you can make a muscle with your 2 fingers like that, and you can ask yourself, am I feeling subconscious fear anywhere in my body, or just am I feeling any fear in my body at all? So no, it will be a weak response. Fingers will go together quite quickly, quite sharply. If it's a yes response, they'll be a little bit harder to pull together. Again, it does take a little practice, but you will start to recognise the change in energy. Give it a few control questions if you like. Ask it your name and give it a false name, and see what outcome you get to test the difference in energy. If you are struggling as well with using the hands, if you've got any kind of like arthritis or ligament issues or anything like that, you can use the pendulums with a crystal on the end. It's all the same. It's all just energy. Everything is energy. Emotions are energy. Your organs are energy. Your body is energy. You are energy. Everything is just energy. And this is just another way of finding out what energetic alignment and situation that we are in, to help be aware of certain things that we may be feeling, to bring us back into a love and peace state. So if you're using it for that purpose, then I can't see anything negative around using it for that purpose. So fears as well. So when fears have begun to control reason, this is when we get into panic attacks. So if you are having panic attacks in your life at the moment, basically your fears are just overtaking your life. They are controlling your life at the moment. So again, another reason to be really aware of where the fears are coming in, and nothing wrong with these fears. Don't judge any of these fears. Perfectly beautiful, natural emotion, just like all the rest, just like guilt, sadness, all the others. Nothing wrong with them. So don't judge them, but sometimes the only problem is when we attach to them. So it's just having that awareness. Also, it's important to be aware of the fact that fears can really control your life. So people don't control our life. Situations do not control our life. So it's really to be really important of that fact at the moment. People do not control your life. Situations do not control your life. However, fears can very much be a controlling factor in our life. So once we basically can get to the point where we are really aware of our fears and in that consciousness of I'm not attaching to them, then people cannot control your life, situations cannot control your life. So therefore you can really live a free, peaceful life, and nobody else has an effect on you. No, the situations can have an effect on you. So this is where fears are really important to really be aware of. Fears as well, if we are in a flight or fight response, so it will affect the kidneys. So if it's affecting the kidneys, it's going to affect your renin enzyme. If it's affecting your renin enzyme, it's going to affect your bones and your skeletal system. So it will start to put little holes in your skeletal system. And in order to compensate for it, your body will create little crystals or stones of calcium, which can be, other people would call them gout, or they would be kidney stones or gallstones. And it's a beautiful natural response that the body has got in order to fill the holes in the bones back up again. However, if you've got any emotional blockages again going on, they could get stuck in the joints, in the knees, in the feet, in the toes. I find kidney stones absolutely anywhere, in the sinuses, in the brain, in the circulatory system. So you can see how your fear can have a real big impact on all of the body. So really important to be aware of this emotion. So you'll feel it in your skeletal system. You may feel it in your kidneys. You may start getting kidney infections, kidney stones, things like that. So the 6 basic fears that we can test for as well, and you can test for it using the techniques that I've shown you. So one is fear of dying, so you can test to have the fear of dying. Again, quite a big one, because that is not going to allow you to live free and do the things that you want to do if you have a fear of death. And death basically is something that we've all done before many times. If you don't believe me, don't take my word for it at all. Ask your body, ask your consciousness. You can ask that question. Your body, your DNA has all the answers. Ask away. Don't take my word for it. Don't take anybody else's word for it. Ask yourself. So a fear of dying, from my own personal truth and kind of like with the work that I've been doing and with people, we've done it many times before. So when the physical body dies, it is a spiritual rebirth. So it's a cycle of death and birth every single time. In every second there's a death and a birth every single time. Where there's death, there's a spark of life every single time. In every single situation, it's a cycle. And a cycle that we've all been through many times before, and a cycle that we go through many times before, because we are infinite beings of light. That's our original state if you strip everything back, and we are just sitting in this body, phone case, as I kind of like to describe it, and we get to choose another one, you know, at the end of this being. We'll float off back into our ball of light at some other point of time. We'll come back into another phone case at some other point of time and in space as well. So fear of dying, so you can test it yourself to see if that is one of your fears. The next one is a fear of illness. Wow. So right now this is big, but this fear of illness can stop you going to work. It can stop you having friends. It can stop you from hugging people. So when I've done tests on hugs, so what happens, I've obviously had certain clients kind of like coming in and things, and I did a little control test of some clients I hugged, some clients I didn't consciously. And when I was testing the clients, every single client that we hugged, when I tested them, all of their chakras were in alignment, within balance, and vitamins and minerals seemed to come back onto line, and they had less things that needed realigning than the clients that came in that I didn't hug, and their chakras were out. And so the hug seemed to put the chakras in alignment, which is quite really interesting. If there's any more people that want to do some more research on this theory, I would love to hear the outcomes of it. That would be absolutely phenomenal. So again, a fear of illness can really have an effect on us as well. So in Europe, people will go out and chat during the day to friends in the piazza, outside, and there has been studies done where this actually increases the life expectancy by 30%. So it's quite high, 30%. So again, not meeting people, not connecting with people, we do have to ask the question, what health effect is that going to have on us as well, on the fear of illness? So there are certain things that we can do to feel a little bit empowered against our health as well, and take a little bit of self-responsibility in ourselves. Is we can test vitamins daily, because vitamins daily has a lot of protection against illness for you. Being very aware of our emotional state can give you wellness protection. Other things we could do, Qigong breathing. Again, don't take my word for it, go research it, do some research about Wim Hof, amazing man. Do some research about that as well. Take some responsibility for oneself, but taking responsibility is also empowering oneself as well. So these are all things that we can do for ourselves to help alleviate our fears, if you become aware that I do have a fear of illness. So a fear of poverty. And again, if we are in fear state, we're not going to be in manifestation state. So we will feel unworthy and undeserving of any abundance that is going to come to us. So again, really important within our work lives and our career to know when we've got certain fears coming in, because that money will just not flow. So fear of being poverty. So it will give you that fear in order for you to overcome that fear. So you'll kind of receive and manifest poverty if that fear is in your energetic state. So really interesting. Fear of losing a loved one. So this can be a big one in relationships. So if somebody does have a fear of losing a loved one, then you'll tend to be a little bit controlling with your spouse, your kids, and somebody that you've got a relationship with. You'll be fearful for that person, so you'll want to be controlling their every move and their every moment, and that person is going, oh, I wish that person had back off. So as soon as we clear the fear of losing love of a loved one, then our spouses or the relationships that we have, it eases up that energetic space for that other person to come to you, rather than you always wanting to go to them. And they'll be kind of like that as well. If you've got a fear of losing a loved one, they'll be like, I wish this person would back off, I don't want anything to do with them, too controlling for me, thank you. So relationships, so this will come up in relationships as well. Fear of old age, fear of getting older. Do you know what? Rock the crone, you know, kind of the wrinkles coming on, the grey hairs coming on, and we are kind of like trying to avoid it as much as we can. Nothing wrong with that either. But old age is just another state of being, but it gives you the opportunity to use all of your life experiences to then hold the wisdom that other people will then come to you for advice. So then your being becomes something else. And also it gives you the opportunity to maybe slow down a little bit as well, not race round after the kids and work and everybody else, but really take some time for you. Have a little bit of fun in your life. Take those experiences. They are just golden. So old age can sometimes be a really beautiful time in your life to come back to you as to what you love, what you enjoy, and take those experiences, because you're not worrying about everyone else for a change. Take that time to slow down the pace a little bit and thoroughly enjoy it. If fear of old age is coming up, potentially you may have eyesight things coming up, so macular degeneration may be coming up. So that is the emotional element with that condition. And you know this, my beautiful mum kind of has it, my nan had it, so it is, I'm adopted, so I've not got that hereditary alignment to it. But even if I was in that bloodline, I could still say I am not going to hold that hereditary alignment to it. So again, your genetics should have no impact on your state of well-being either, because you can override that just by your training of thought. Supplementation as well can sometimes hold things off too. So there are things that we can do. You don't necessarily have to inherit conditions either at all. Fear of criticism. So this is a big one, criticism and ridicule. So again, this will stop you potentially from interacting with certain people and certain situations. So, and it will also stop you from standing up from your beliefs as well, your inner beliefs from your heart. So say you want to do something and it kind of like, yeah, not your head is saying this, because what we do from the head is all learned from society, parents. These are actions that we want to do from the heart. But if you've got an underlying fear of ridicule, then you won't be able to live live from the heart, because you'll be thinking, well, if I do that, somebody's going to judge me and tell me off. And so a fear of ridicule as well can stop you living from the heart, and it will just have you in your headspace all the time. Again, if you're in the headspace, you may be creating fears, and again, you know, it will stop you living your life to your full potentials. So this is where fears are really important to be aware of within our life, within our well-being, within our relationships. So one little affirmation that I'd like to share with you: I accept right now to replace fear with trust. I have full power over my life. I always ask to be guided and protected in the actions I must take or the words I must say for the well-being of all. So if we are in a fear state as well, we are not looking after each other either. So our responsibility is to ourselves only. But when we are not being responsible with ourselves and taking what feels right from the heart, we are not being responsible for other people either. And other people are not our responsibilities, only you are your responsibility. But your well-being will have an effect on the next person. If you are in your heart space, then everyone is going to feel that peace, everyone is going to feel that love. If you are in a fear space, everyone's going to be feeling that as well. You choose which one would you prefer. So the same applies for my family and all the persons I love. Okay, so I will leave all of these thoughts and my love with you. Test it out for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Don't take anyone else's word for it. Just your inner authority. Come back to your own power. Come back to your own knowledge. Come back to your own love. And honour fear for what it is as well. So I'll leave that with you. Thank you for joining me today. Take care, everyone, and enjoy your life. Bye.